Special edition of PFTPM, trade deadline edition. Could be more coming as the afternoon unfolds because who knows what other trades will be made. There are two to talk about for now. One we saw coming, one we did not. I'll start with the one we didn't see coming. The team that beat the Colts in Super Bowl III, giving them a piece that may propel them to Super Bowl 60. We'll see how it plays out for the Colts, but at least for now they have added two-time All-Pro cornerback Sauce Gardner in a trade with the Jets. 2 first-round picks and receiver A.D. Mitchell go to New York. There was no suggestion, no idea. I had heard over the weekend that the Jets were getting a lot of phone calls. They didn't intend to have a fire sale. I don't know what this counts as, but maybe it's as simple as an offer they couldn't refuse. 2 first-round picks plus a receiver come to the Jets, and it may speak to a level of ambivalence that possibly the Jets had about Sauce Gardner. They had to give him a second contract. He was an All-Pro his first 2 seasons in the NFL. Last year was disappointing. They'd seen enough this year to make a long-term assessment. And here's the key. Even though they gave him a second contract with a new money average of more than $30 million per year, the signing bonus, fairly low, $13 million plus. Low base salary. They end up paying him just over $14 million for everything they've seen so far this season, and the cap charge next year will be $11 million. Now, $2.75 million of it was going to hit anyway for the signing bonus, so it's an acceleration of only $8.25 million to move on from Sauce Gardner, and they come out of it with a pair of first-round draft picks plus another player. So, look, they had half of a season, 8 games, to make a decision on whether or not Sauce Gardner was part of whatever future the Jets are trying to build, whether he fit into the culture that new coach Aaron Glenn is trying to establish. They made the decision. 2 first-round picks, it's hard to say no to that. Those picks are valuable, even if next year's Colts pick potentially and likely will be a low pick, possibly the lowest pick of them all at number 32. But it just shows you what a motivated team is willing to do, and it tells me that the Colts have been paying attention to Sauce Gardner for a while. This isn't something they just pulled out of the air. You don't give up 2 first-round picks in season for a guy that you don't view as part of your long-term building and planning. This isn't just a pick to finish out the season, a guy that you see as the last piece of a puzzle. The Colts try to build something sustainable. They think Gardner can be that guy. Clearly, the Jets didn't, or the Jets didn't to the point that they're willing to say no to a couple of first-round picks plus a player. And that's how these deals always work. You got to have both teams come to an agreement. Deadline spur action. The window closed at 4 o'clock Eastern today. Instead of waiting until the offseason, because maybe the deal could have been done then, the Colts move now. They get him for the rest of this season, the balance of his new contract, and we'll see if it makes them any better on the back end. They've been trying to get better on the front end. They've been looking at pass rushers. Maybe they finally decided we're not going to get the pass rusher we want. Let's take that compensation we were willing to maybe send to a team that had a pass rusher we coveted to the Jets and get a guy that can help us cover a little bit longer so that the pass rush that may not be what the Colts want it to be can get home. Makes the rest of the season very interesting for Indianapolis and the teams the Colts are competing with as they try to win the division, get to the postseason, win some games, and really have their best year, possibly, since Peyton Manning was last with the franchise. The other trade, and this is one that we caught wind of over the weekend, Rashid Shaheed. You know, they've been talking about Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. Are the Saints going to move one of their receivers? I had heard they were looking for a 3rd-round pick for Shaheed, which isn't a bad return for a guy who was undrafted. They got a 4 and a 5 for Shaheed from the Seattle Seahawks. Now, from Seattle's perspective, this is just what they need because the offense has been too focused on Jackson Smith and Jigba. Cooper Kupp has done okay. Nothing close to what he did a few years ago with the Rams, and maybe nothing close to what they thought he was going to do when they signed him as a free agent. Shaheed has that thing that every offense needs, that deep threat that can stretch the field, force you to defend every blade of grass, and make it easier for Smith and Jigba, easier for Cooper Kupp, easier for the running game. The Seahawks are making their move, and it's not a massive investment, but this shows that they understand, as they should, that they are for real, and they're making a move to try to propel them to the height of whatever their potential may be. So, 2 playoff contenders get better today so far. 2 teams at the bottom of the league trade out pieces that they presumably weren't all that interested in keeping beyond this year, and they get better in theory. They get more ammunition to try to get better moving forward. We may have more updates as the afternoon unfolds. I guarantee you this, at ProFootballTalk.com, we'll constantly be providing anything and everything that is happening as it relates to the trade deadline and everything else going on in the National Football League. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.